LinkedIn for me isn't just about getting more clients, better leads, of course, but you are your business, your influence. He's also one of the only people to have ever pulled a pistol out on me. I told this guy and his family, his wife, his newborn son, to go to this gate, and there'd been an explosion. And it was quite a moment. It was incredibly emotional and difficult to process. I've got a tender out for a corporate contract to help people with their health and well-being in the workplace. And so this one post could be quite lucrative. Okay, right, so I'm going to talk to you about LinkedIn today. And LinkedIn is a bit of a difficult platform for many people. Put your hands up here if you've looked at LinkedIn and thought, that looks really complex. Yeah? And you kind of want to do it, you think, my leads are going to be there. And it is kind of a mystery. A lot of people think that it's just a blue version of Instagram, and it's really not the case. There's two things really that Charlie says, he's not in here now, that solve problems. Money and people. LinkedIn is where you get the people.
Great job. Love that you like
What one thing do you think, maybe shout it out, gets you clients over the person sat next to you?
Yeah.
What one thing is it? We can all pretty much do the same thing, but what thing is it? JJ alluded to it in his talk. Say again?
Best known.
Best known, yeah, which otherwise could be known as being, yes, influential, okay, having influence. Having influence in your life can lead to many more things. Now, LinkedIn for me isn't just about getting more clients, better leads, of course. It's about expanding my influence. Where can I speak? Who can I speak to? Which communities can I get involved in? How can people hear my message? How can people understand what I do? A bit like John Lee said, building brands is something that's incredibly important to growing and scaling to a high level. And so LinkedIn, whilst it may seem a mystery, you need to understand how to use it and exactly the frame of mind you need when you go into it. And I'm going to walk you through a few things towards the end of this presentation that you can take away to when you're posting on LinkedIn. But I want to show you the power of LinkedIn. I'm going to tell you a story that starts and ends with LinkedIn that took 3 years. But before I get into that, into my story, everyone in this room has a story to tell. Is anyone here under 23? There's a couple of people under 23. And you might think, I speak to people, everyone in this business, pretty much I've spoken to. And some people, I say in an onboarding call, if you've been in an onboarding call with me, tell me a little bit about yourself. I don't care about your business. I just want to know about you. And everyone's a bit taken aback. Why do you want to know about me? But you are your business. Your influence is the thing that's going to spread your message around for longer, further, and get the better quality clients, create the community, create the retention, grow your business. All right? And you've probably got a story that you can tell people that will interest people. And that's what LinkedIn is about. LinkedIn is about the people. It's about the story that you can tell. And it's about how you can encapsulate people, your audience, your specific audience, into engaging with you, commenting on your stuff, DMing you. I don't ask people for calls anymore on LinkedIn. They ask me for calls. Chris, can I have a call with you next week? Yeah, sure. They book me in their diaries, not the other way around. And that's what you need to do. So I'm going to tell you a story now that starts and ends with LinkedIn. Maybe one of the things I'm most proud of in my life. And if I didn't have LinkedIn, I wouldn't have been able to do this. This story, for those of you that don't know, I was in the army for 9 years, retired a captain in 2021. I was a coach from 2019. This guy here is a guy that I met in Afghanistan many years ago. He's also one of the only people to have ever pulled a pistol out on me and then have a selfie with me years later. But that's another story. In 2021, just 6 weeks after I left the army, I had a phone call. And this phone call was from Afghanistan. I was like, that's a bit odd, isn't it? I don't really get phone calls from there too often. But the situation in the news was that the Taliban had encircled Kabul, and it looked like they had a couple of weeks until they were going to, sort of take control again. So it was a little bit hairy. Having spent some time out there, I was reflecting about on the work that I did and whether it was even worth it. And at this point, I was introspecting. I was thinking, well, I just spent 9 years of my life doing this. I left it 6 weeks ago. I was then working a job earning 6 figures. We're very, very busy. And I took this phone call in the workday, and it was this guy, Zamir Shams, his name is. And he said, Captain Chris. He was pretty much one of the only guys that I didn't need to use an interpreter for. And he told me that his life was in danger, as I knew well was true. And he said he needed help. Chris, can you get me out of the country? Absolutely not. What can I do? I'm not in the army anymore. I'm in a job, I'm really, really busy, and I've no idea what to do. But I put the phone down and said, look, leave it with me, I'll see what I can do. I knew that there were some government schemes happening, I knew there were some things for interpreters, people that worked for the military, okay, so they could come over. But this guy was just an Afghan soldier, all right? And I'll say just an Afghan soldier, he wasn't qualified. And it was a shame. His son was 2 weeks older than my son at the time, who was 8 weeks old. And so that sort of sat with me a little bit. As a father, I thought, I feel for this guy. He's there in a war zone. So I took to LinkedIn, and this is where LinkedIn comes into this. I had a network of people from the military, and I wondered, could anyone help me? Who's working in this headquarters? Who's working in MOD main building in London? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? And I sent a bunch of messages out. I put a post out, okay? I need some help. And in that time, I was contacted by a number of people, number of really, really influential people. And with that message, with that post, I managed to get in touch with someone who I'd never met before through the network, because someone had shared my post, someone had liked my post, something like that. And my second degree connections saw it, okay? Hugely important. This is what LinkedIn is about. And I managed to get on the phone, get an application form, and sort of weasel my way, and I lied. I said that this guy worked for us, and because I wanted to get him out. And I used my own personal judgment, rightly or wrongly, and I don't regret it, to lie about this and say this person was directly working for us. I got him a case number. But they said he has to get to the airport himself. Another whole kettle of fish. So I spent the next sort of 48 hours glued to my phone. And I was looking at maps, I was speaking to people, and I basically said, what I need you to do is I need you to go to this sort of gate. I had some recollection and memory of the ground. But I said, I need you to go to this gate. They can help you. I knew the British forces were there. I needed him to see the British forces, not the Americans, because his application was British. He tells me that he's there. He sends me a photo. I wish I had the photo here, but it's just chaos at the walls. If any of you ever followed the news, current affairs. And then he said, Chris, I'm going to get in. I'll speak to you later. It was nighttime in the UK. I fell asleep. I woke up to, honestly, like 30 missed calls, and my heart sank. I looked at the news, and there was a suicide bomb, and it killed a lot of people, and it was in the vicinity of the area that I sent him to. Clearly, I was a little bit upset. I told this guy and his family, his wife, his newborn son, to go to this gate, and there'd been an explosion. And another 24 hours passes, and I didn't hear from him. So I was worried. I woke up the next morning, and he told me, Chris, I'm in Rome. You're in Rome? What? He said, yeah, there was chaos, and I ran onto the last plane, and it took me to Italy. All right? They just let people on at this point, anyone who was in the airport. I was like, fantastic. That's really good news. Fast forward 3 years, he was in Rome, he learned Italian, great, props to him, okay, did a degree remotely, really good stuff, gave back to the society there, but he was somewhere in Rome, it wasn't good for him. And I wanted him to move over to the UK. So I helped him get his visas, so on and so forth. That was a bit of a process. Again, speaking to the people that I sort of connected with on LinkedIn. He got his visas, and he came over to one of those, you've probably heard of these asylum hotels that are there, so I'm one of the contributors, but this guy absolutely deserves this place. And I met up with him. This was only about 6 weeks ago. The last time I saw him was in Kabul. It was very, very surreal seeing him in the sort of this environment. And he had his wife, he had his son, who was obviously a lot older now, and he had his daughter as well, who'd since been born. And it was quite a moment. It was incredibly emotional and difficult to process a few weeks ago. So I put this post up on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn as well. He knows the power of the network. And this was my most viral post to date. So it's got 187,000 impressions, 3,173. I tend to go viral every now and again anyway, but never that amount of likes. That's quite good. Made 5 figures off this in a day, right, straight away. It got me invited to a company to do public speaking, to talk about the story, which pays well, as I'm sure some of you know who have done that before. I've got a tender out for a corporate contract to help people with their health and well-being in the workplace. And so this one post could be quite lucrative, okay? I don't really care about the money from that post because this is more important to me. But I told a story. I sent a message out, and it got to my audience, to my network, because I connect with military people. I train people in special forces. I've trained people in MI6. I trained some pretty cool people across the world. And that helps expand my reach, all right? I wasn't Special Force, I wasn't anyone cool, I was just a normal guy in the army. So this is LinkedIn, and that's the power. That story is one of many examples of how I share my message around the world. And you don't need to have this story to make this happen. You just need to have a story. And in fact, I've told my story many times, loads of different stories here, loads of different bits of impressions. Okay, yeah, 19,000, it's not huge. 136, 137 likes, it's pretty good for LinkedIn. It gets you sales calls, it gets you clients, it gets you the right people. It gets you the people that come in and want to drop 3K on your program straight away. All right, without hesitation. I'm closing calls, I said to Aidan the other day, I did one in 9 minutes. Okay, because these people know me, they see me. Great to meet you in person, finally. Okay, because I'm posting 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, consistently, and I'm posting a story. They don't care how to do the bicep curl correctly. They don't care what food to eat. If you treat Instagram, LinkedIn, like a blue Instagram, then you're not going to be successful on the platform, all right? And there's lots of detail we can go into. If you just get me on a one-to-one call, I'll walk you through it. And again, some of these posts, they're not all, this one here is a picture of shots on a bar. Again, that 672 likes, 5 figures off that post. All right, there are some more fitness-related ones, okay, but they talk about specific things. There's images that might resonate with certain people, okay. There's things that will sort of pick out my audience, and then there's those celebratory ones, and then there's the fitness ones. All right, there is a place. You need to tell people what you do, of course, and we do that by coming up with keywords. Now, if you were on my live training last week, I think it was, or the week before, I spoke about keywords. You only need 10 words. If you repeat these 10 words in all of your posts, your 10 words, then your audience will see them. You need to figure out what these are first, and that's the hardest thing. Who is your audience? What are your keywords? And you just pop them in the first 2 lines, and that's it. Military, army, longevity, skill, these kind of things that are going to get there. A number of you came up with your keywords as well. Performance. Someone came up with some really good ones, like, I can't remember who it was, but really, really business-related ones that resonate with their audience in the financial market. Abdul, works with guys on oil rigs, absolutely killing it on LinkedIn now. Okay, as a result, the engagement's skyrocketing up, starting to generate sales and money off the platform because he's doing the right things. Okay, so come up with your 10 keywords that are going to resonate with audience. And I don't care, it's not nutrition, it's not like happiness, it's things that are actually relevant to your audience. That's what matters, that's what we care about. I took this slide out because it was about AI, and John basically just completely poo-pooed that and made a really good job of it. So what I would have said would have been completely disinteresting, to be frank. So what do you need to do? You need to connect with those people, industry thought leaders, okay? There are people within your client base, okay, who do something for your client base that are thought leaders in that. You're just plugging and playing into what they do, all right? I've got a guy who does like mindset training for ex-military guys. We share about 20 of the same clients. They go on his mindset course, they come on my fitness course, so on and so forth, back and forth. But there's loads of examples. I've been through a few of these before with a lot of you about those thought leaders in your industry. You plug and play with them, okay, and literally connect with them two-way, comment on their stuff, they'll comment on your stuff, your audiences, before you know it, become completely integrated. Okay, so engage with them, connect with them, work with them, network with them. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be in Bristol in the UK at a networking event, a LinkedIn networking event. I'm going to meet all these people face to face. I did it last March, okay, getting sales on the day, all right? So when you post, it needs to be relevant. God, again, bicep curls. This is how you do your bicep curl. Doesn't matter, no one cares about it on LinkedIn. It's for Instagram only. Use your keywords. Tell a story. Start conversations with people, okay? Anyone who, this is classic lead generation now, start conversations, but do something that's going to elicit a bit of emotion, all right? Even if I talk about fitness, I might talk about, I did one post once, it was, this is how long you should be able to balance on one leg for if you're this age, this age, this age, this age. And everyone was coming up and, oh, well, I can do it for longer, and people arguing with each other in the post and, all sorts of stuff. Do something that's going to get people to talk. Comments are way more powerful than likes on LinkedIn. Okay, if you get people to talk, the platform sees you as a thought leader, and then every day I get a notification. Chris, we want you to contribute to this article. Chris, we want you to contribute to this article. Okay, 300 people a year get awarded a special badge by LinkedIn, and I'm gunning for it. And if I get it, that'd be great. Right, final thing. The ratchet method. I completely made this up just before my live call the other week, but this is what I think you should do when it comes to posting on LinkedIn. All right. Comment on some recent posts that are on the wall. Very basic, sort of classic stuff going on here. add value, show that you're a thought leader in what they're doing. I don't know, someone put something up about psychology and how to be better at work or whatever. Just comment on and give your viewpoint, yeah? Teach others. When you're posting, I want you to be teaching people things, okay? Not how to do a bicep curl, but teaching them how to integrate their life, their performance into a health and well-being context, okay? Commend and celebrate. There was a picture there of me with my MBA. Again, people like lap it up. You can self-celebrate on LinkedIn. It's not like egotistical, so just do it. If you just got a 100K plaque, whack it up. People will love it. Hit a reaction on another couple of posts before, 3 or 4, just to sort of warm up the account. Engage with 3 and 5 of them, and then try different accounts each time. So you've got your thought leaders that might post, okay? And then you've got another couple of people that you might try. So you might have someone doing something else. You might have someone talking about retirement planning, pension planning, and stuff like that. Just comment on there and try and suck a bit of that audience in as well, okay? Super basic stuff, but you have to do this every single post to try and get those people in. So what do you get from this talk? Understand how to use LinkedIn. It's not Instagram. It's a platform where we need to extend our influence, okay? Off some of these posts, I've got more opportunity that I think is going to get me more revenue than my coaching itself, okay? Which is quite an exciting prospect, okay? Over the years, I've managed to get corporate deals that sort of 4 or 5 weeks, 25, 30K, okay? You can get that kind of stuff off LinkedIn because the right people see it, the decision makers see it, and then they like you because you've got a good level of influence on a platform. And it's very, very simple thereafter. I truly believe that 90% of people can do this, if not 100. You just got to figure out what your story is and start expanding your influence as quickly as possible. Any questions?